whether you should even use Black Ops 6 guns, primarily the AR/LMG, your primary slot. Because like the difference between an MW3 SMG, which I've used, I've been using the Striker, versus a BO6 SMG like the PP19, they feel to me pretty similar. There's not really much of a difference.
Yeah.
When it comes to ARs though, that is absolutely not the case. MW3 guns have a lot of advantages right now that, in my opinion, make them more attractive than BO6 guns when you're talking about your AR or your LMG. One of them is you can't use Gunfighter with it, so you can only use 5 attachment slots. Now that might sound like a negative. However, because of the types of attachments MW3 guns are allowed to have that BO6 guns are not, you actually get an easier to control, easier to use, and faster reloading AR without having to use a wild card. So you can take overkill, so you don't have to buy your second gun, or you can take even Bandolier, which gives you a free ammo satchel, munition satchel, which actually is pretty strong. The reserve ammo is one thing, and I do like that for reasons we'll get into, because it's very hard to actually top off your ammo, whether you have a satchel or not. But even more than that, being able to hold 4 smokes or stims or Semtex versus just 2 is a really big deal.
Yeah.
That you will notice lots. And that's going to be even more true when ranked comes out. I am really, really going to need an ammo satchel for ranked, like straight up. Because you can't carry smokes in your backpack anymore. You can't carry extra munis in your backpack anymore. So what I had done was looked at like true game data, and I was looking at a lot of the MW3 ARs. And I was like, okay, what looks good? Like just like on paper, what looks good compared to, BO6 ARs that are in vogue. So what I did was I went to BO6 and I added the 2 guns everyone's using, which are the XM4 and the GPR 91. And then I went to MW3 and I added a bunch. But the ones that stand out to me, or the one that stood out to me, which is the one I've been using, is the SVA 545. This is a full auto assault rifle that has been meta before last year. Lots. Most of the time when people were using it, they were doing like the tap fire stuff. That's probably still the best way to use it, maybe. I have not been doing that though. I've just been using it full auto and benefiting from the hyperburst when my first couple shots come out. And even using it as just a normal standard full auto AR, it has a faster time to kill than both the XM4 and the GPR 91 by... What is that? I hate this website, man. By about 52 milliseconds if you're hitting chest, and still about 52 milliseconds if you're hitting combo shots, up to 36 meters without any attachments. So when you add in the long barrel, then that range is extended even farther. And then out of that range, you're not killing much slower. Like an XM4 kills 750 milliseconds versus 800 at 37 meters. And then there's another damage drop off for both of them, but then it's still only killing 50 milliseconds faster, the XM4, versus the 30 milliseconds faster than the SVA. So like that time to kill difference is pretty insubstantial in my opinion at that range, because the SVA kills faster up close, up to again like 37 meters before attachments. But keep in mind, you're probably hitting most of your shots inside of that damage range. As you approach the 37 number, maybe you start missing some, But like with both guns, you're probably like hitting everything. So therefore, SVA is probably better because it kills faster. Outside of that damage range, at the damage range, the XM4 or GPR start to kill more quickly than the SVA, which is very late for the GPR, by the way. That is at a range that is so far at that point that you're going to be missing shots with both guns, but you're going to be missing fewer shots with the SVA because a 5-attachment SVA is far easier to use and hit shots on people far away with than an 8-attachment GPR 91 or XM4 by a lot. So my practical time to kill is always faster with an SVA, and I get a free wildcard slot since I don't have to run Gunfighter. And by the way, its velocity is on par, about the same. Its time to kill is better, like we've gone over. And it reloads, and I can't stress this enough, much, much, much faster than the GPR or XM4. And when I say that, I mean a 60-round SVA mag reloads way faster than a 60-round XM4 or GPR mag. It's kind of insane. So what is the reason to run a BO6 AR? I would say there are two. Reason number one, because they're the new guns and you want to use the new stuff. And that's totally fair. I respect that. I was doing that. I'm over it now. But if that's the camp you're in, fine. Reason number two, BO6 guns have infinitely more bullet pen, which is relevant. So, in my opinion, the question for you should be, do I prefer being able to pen everything, which is a genuinely big upside, by the way. I'm not like discounting that. It's a good thing, and it doesn't work on the MW3 guns. You cannot pen even close like you can with the BO6 guns. I tested it today. It's really obvious.
Yeah.
So that's the benefit of the BO6 gun. You could pen more. Or would you rather be able to reload faster and get a free wildcard slot? And a gun that's easier to control and has a higher practical time to kill at pretty much every range. For me, the answer to that question is I'll use an MW3 gun. And I think the SVA is the best gun of the MW3 suite. I haven't used all of them, but like on paper, they all look kind of worse than the SVA. And I've used the SVA already, and I know it feels really good, and it's very easy to hit shots with. It also handles like relatively quickly, by the way. Like aim down sight time is like pretty good. Strafe speed and stuff. It all feels like pretty good also. So
well, that's the other
thing. It really
thing.
doesn't have weaknesses other than pen.
The handling on the MW3 guns is definitely worse. Once you get attachments and everything on there too, because on the BO6 guns, when you're putting attachments on it, you're not losing ADS time. For the MW3 guns, because I built one yesterday, you're making your ADS time slower with every attachment you put on, basically. So it ends up, so like by default, with no attachments, they're about the same. But by the time you build them out, the MW3 guns are a lot slower. That's what ends up happening too.
I will actually build a couple out so we can look at numbers, because it didn't feel like that to me, honestly.
Because the BP50 felt like it ADS 200 milliseconds slower than an XM4 once you get the attachments on it.
Oh, yeah, well, but the SVA, that's another kind of reason. I haven't tried the BP50, but the SVA has always handled pretty fast for an AR. Like it did last year, you know what I mean? So most people run extended mag 2. And then most people run recoil springs, and then the infiltrator stock.
The Holger 556 also looks very good on paper.
Yeah, I didn't try that.
Holger
that thing
5
handled slow last year, so I didn't even bother trying it, honestly.
It kills like a lot faster than the SVA, it seems like. God, True Game Data's website has gotten so bad. It's just the laggiest website I've ever used. Yeah, Holger and BP50 both seem good if you're just looking at strictly time to kill.
How did that sound?
Like something. Yeah, I guess the website just doesn't work now.
Okay, well, I'm building a couple of guns here, so let me see. So let me just build the SVA, how I'm using it. So that is, and by the way, a big reason the MW3 guns are so much easier to control than the BO6 guns, despite having 3 fewer attachments, is for exactly the reason Tanner just mentioned. You can still use some really impactful MW3 attachments, such as the quartermaster suppressor. Like, you can't put that on a BO6 gun. So you're getting a ton of recoil control from one attachment that you can't even match with 3 attachments from BO6. So it's like,
Yeah.
So let me finish building this real quick. I think that's the right barrel. Yes. Okay, optic. I put on the Eagle Eye. Let's see. Recoil stock, which is
Using a
this
stock
one.
on that thing, huh?
Oh
on that
yeah,
SVA.
full recoil control, buddy. Yeah, and then mag 60 dumper. Okay, so let's see stat graphs. We are going to look at, what do we care about? Aim down sight time. You are correct. XM4 253, SVA 368. That is actually a really big difference. It doesn't feel that bad though.
What's the difference?
253 to 368. That's a huge difference. That's 110 milliseconds.
Yeah. Pretty bad.
ADS move speed's a lot faster with the XM4.
That's kind of what it comes down to. So like in heads up gunfights too, if somebody's using a BO6 gun and they're within range of hitting their shots, they're going to win the gunfight every single time just based on the handling. But I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't experience that really, because when I'm starting to get heads up, I usually have my SMG out by then. Like for big map especially, it just never matters to me that my gun ADS is 100 milliseconds more slowly.
Yeah.
Honestly. So you guys should try it out is my point. Because it's also very nice to just have overkill for free. Or if you're a real tryhard, I would probably do Bandolier as your wild card. Or you could even do the one that gives you a free UAV just for fun to mess around with.
But yeah, you could.
Yeah, don't. I've just been doing overkill because it's easy. But I think this is going to be a more relevant question again. If you plan on playing ranked, you should right now start using some BO6 ARs, experiment with them. Evidently, there are some other good ones. So SVA was one I tried. But you were saying what, the Holger 556?
Holger and BP50 both seem good as well. I saw people saying like TikToks and Booyah was like, oh, the MCW's meta. It's not. It's terrible. The MCW conversion kit is very fast killing for an SMG if you want to use that as a close range. But MCW, don't ignore what people say about it. It's not good. It's terrible.
Yeah. The SVA looks like just a better Holger.
I don't have the website open anymore.
Oh.
Because it's a bad website and it kept lagging out.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, I don't know. You guys can go to True Game Data and look at stuff, but the ones to try, in my opinion, are the SVA and a BP50, because it kills a little faster up to like 26 meters. Probably 30 with attachments. I would say those are like the relevant ones to try. Based on these numbers, I don't see a reason to use the Holger 556 at all. Especially because it handles so much slower, I think, than an SVA. We're not going to like build it out for you guys here. It's boring to listen to. But the point is, yeah, experiment with them, because if it is the case for you, like it is for me, that it's way easier to hit shots on people far away, and therefore your practical time to kill on people far away is way faster with an MW3 gun than a BO6 gun, you should know that. And especially, again, because it gives you a free wildcard slot. That's the big other advantage it gives you. Yeah. But yeah, and I think that's only because, though, to be fair, you can put a quartermaster suppressor on MW3 guns. So you have one attachment that's doing more than like 3 BO6 attachments. It is actually easier to hit shots and you get a free wild card. But you will miss out a lot on the pin. So if you're not using tracker, stop. You should start using tracker. But if you really insisted on not using tracker, then I don't think there's almost any reason to use a BO6 gun, honestly. Like, you're getting nothing out of it. So
Yeah.
that's something to keep in mind. But we had been talking about that on Patreon on the episode that went live today. And I can absolutely confirm beyond a shadow of a doubt feels way better to use. So keep that in mind. As far as SMGs, on the other hand, I was using the PP19, which felt good. And then I tried the Jackal a little bit because everyone's saying that's insane. I don't like the iron sights, so I don't like the Jackal.
Irons. Those are controller irons. I'm surprised you don't like them.
Yeah, they are controller irons. They're like usable, but I had some close calls with people getting under them. So I was like, I'm uncomfortable with these. So I got off of it. So then I was like, you know what? I wonder how an MW3 SMG would feel. So then I was like, I want to find something like a PP19, but an MW3 SMG and see if like that makes any sense. So I built a striker with a quartermaster suppressor on it because it has excellent irons, no stock, 60 dumper, although usually you would go 48, but I just wanted to try the 60. And then whatever, 2 other attachments, long barrel and the sprint to fire rear grip. And it felt almost exactly the same as a PP19. Like the fire rate's the same, the handling's the same, the recoil's the same. The iron sights are really good on both. It's actually like they feel like the same gun. They look different, but they feel exactly the same. So if I went into the numbers and used them both a lot more, I could probably pick out some minor differences, but is there a reason to use an MW3 sub? No, I don't think it's worth it, because if they feel identical to me, well, then obviously I should take the BO6 one because it can pen lots and the MW3 one cannot. So I think the meta setup for me right now is a MW3 AR, BO6 SMG, because you get to keep that bullet pen and you're not really missing out on anything in the same way you are missing out on a lot if you don't use an MW3 assault rifle. So I think this is like a big and important thing to say, by the way. I'm sure other people are somewhat talking about this, but for all of you who are, trying to like do really well, you might not have even thought to like, hey, try the old guns. There still are some that are really good. Not the DTIR and not the STG. I've looked, they're terrible. So don't use those.
Yeah.
But again, SVA, BP50, you guys can go look at more numbers, but I think there's a lot to be said for those weapons. So
yeah, I like when people make these TikToks and just literally get on there and lie. Like I saw a few that were like, the STG is the fastest killing primary in Warzone. So just now when I was looking at shooting game, I was like, oh, I'm going to throw the STG up on there. It's like 200 milliseconds slower at the first damage range than like every other AR that I had on the list. It wasn't even close. Classic. It's so bad.
Classic, yeah. So anyway, give that a shot. That was, I just wanted to get that out there because now that I've tried it, I'm like trying to get everyone to like, hey, use it. It's really good.